Hello, my name is Steven Forsberg and I represent SF Designs Games. And I'm running this Kickstarter as a fundraiser to be able to help me promote my game and get it to you on the shelves.
Alright, so what is the thing that motivated you to make games?
Oh, one of the things that's motivated me to create games is there's just a bland market out there. You got one game with 25 different versions of it, and there's nothing new out there. It seems almost stagnant to where I want to go out to the store and buy a game, but here I'm looking at the same game in 25 versions. That's not much of a selection. So that's one of the motivators that's made me want to create games so others can enjoy
Something new. So how exactly did you come up with the ideas for your games?
Well, there's not one way I did come up with the ideas for my games. One of the ways is I could just be walking around and in a store, like I was grocery shopping one time, and I ended up coming up with an awesome title for a game, and it was catchy and all that. So I wrote it down and made sure to remember it and where I wouldn't forget it. There was another time where I created, the actual board game before I even came up with a name for it. And then there was another way I ended up came up with a catchy slogan for something, and I was able to mingle the actual design and the way of playing that game to match the catchy phrase. So there's been multiple ways of where I've actually been able to come up with the ideas for my games.
Alright, awesome. So what do you think sets you apart from other board game companies?
Well, I think what sets me apart from other board games is first, it's going to be something new, something that's not repeated over and over and over again. The other thing that's going to set me apart from the others is I'm going to have my games made in America. They're not going to be shipped from China. So they'll be creating jobs for Americans. And the other thing that's going to set me apart is I'm not going to be a one-hit wonder. I've got multiple games, and just to give you an example, if I were to come out with 2 games a year, that gives me 25 years to be able to do that. So, I think that those 3 major points would definitely set me apart from what the other competitors are at.
Okay. Alright, sounds good. So, what are you hoping to accomplish?
Well, what I want to accomplish at Kickstarter is being able to get my first board game produced. And I also want to be able to expand on that, where I'm able to go to the big companies like Walmart and Toys R Us and get the product on the shelf for consumers to purchase.
Right. Okay. Alright, sounds good. Okay, so you mentioned about getting your game into stores at like Walmart and Toys R Us. How exactly would you go about doing that?
Well, Walmart has a program that they just recently they're enforcing, is they're trying to promote more American-made jobs, and in the process there's a company that you have to go through in order for them to inspect the factory where your product's being made, and if it passes with flying colors, you're able to go to the next step, and then you get to a buyer, and then the buyer will decide if they want to actually carry the game, And I believe that once they see the game and how it's played and all that, they'll be more than happy to put it on the shelves.
Nice. Who would most benefit from your project?
I think the people that would benefit most from my project are going to be the consumers who actually purchase the game, because they'll be able to create new memories and they'll be able to bond with family and friends.
Okay, nice. Okay, so you brought a game with you today. So tell me about this game.
Well, the name of the game is Racer Circle.
Okay.
You can play with 2 to 4 players. Each player is given 3 pieces to move around the board. There's multiple positives and multiple negatives on the board. For instance, some of the green spots on the board, like this one you would move ahead 1 space, this one you would move 3 spaces ahead, and in the center there's another one where you would move 2 spaces ahead, depending on which direction you're coming from. There's also negatives. If you get a flat tire, you go back 2 spaces. If you run out of gas, you lose a turn. Or if you come across an oil slick, you go back 3 spaces. There's different levels of play. Like from the ages of 4 to 6, they would be able to play just the 1 lap around, ending at the finish and crossing the checkerboard. Or it goes up to 2 laps where ages 7 and up would be able to play, where you go around the lap 1 time and then you do the 2nd lap as a crazy 8 and then end it at the finish. Or you go up to the very highest, which would be 3 laps, and you go around the lap once, then you do the crazy 8s, and then you finish with 1 lap around, ending at the finish line, crossing the checkerboard.
Okay, so I noticed that each color has 3 pieces. Does that mean each piece has to go around the lap?
Yes.
Okay, so then on the level 3, each one would have to go around 3 times. It'd have to go around, then do the crazy 8, and then go all the way around again?
Yes.
Alright.
For instance, I mean, as you go up level by level, it gets harder and harder, because even if, let's say that another player were to land on another player, that person would have to completely start that lap over again. It's almost like a car wreck that team racers get into.
And then so can you have multiples of these out at one time? So say if you had this piece was like over here in the lap, but this piece was back here, or does one piece have to finish before you can start the next one?
You can actually play with all 3 pieces on the board.
On the board?
You just definitely have to remember which one is in which lap.
Right, okay. Alright.